Yugoslavia's World War II armor history is truly unique. The country collapsed in just 11 days in 1941, but Yugoslav Partisans later assembled one of Europe's most diverse tank forces, capturing Italian, German, British, and Soviet vehicles, and even creating improvised armored machines in workshops. After the war, several fake Yugoslav projects appeared, mixing myth with reality. This video covers every real Yugoslav armored vehicle of World War II and the fictional designs added later. Let's start with the Kingdom of Yugoslavia. Renault FT, Yugoslavia's first tanks, purchased from France in the 1920s. Approximately 54 FT-17 served until the April War, hopelessly obsolete with 37mm guns and riveted armor. After capture, Germans used them on armored trains throughout occupied Yugoslavia, and some were eventually recaptured by partisans near war's end. Renault NC-27, French-built tank with unique half-track suspension, giving better cross-country mobility than pure-wheeled vehicles. Yugoslavia operated a small number captured by Germans in 1941. Their fate remains unclear, though at least one was destroyed by Montenegrin partisans during the war. Renault R35, modern French light tank with 78 to 80 delivered to Yugoslavia before the April War, armed with 37mm gun and featuring good armor protection for its class. After German capture, they were used extensively against partisan forces until 1945, and partisans eventually captured several for their own use. Škoda Škoda T32, Czech-designed light tank, with 8 purchased by Yugoslavia in 1938, featured 37mm gun and 32mm frontal armor. Germans captured them in April 1941 and used at least some on armored trains. One T32 appears in German capture photographs alongside Renault FTs. Škoda SEJ, Czech-designed light tank, with 8 purchased by Yugoslavia in 1938. Improved Czech light tank variant with better armor and armament than the T-32. Very limited numbers served with Royal Yugoslav Army. Captured examples likely saw German service in anti-partisan operations. Yugoslav partisan armor. Partisan armored vehicles. 2 improvised armored trucks, built by partisans in May 1942 at Lubija mine workshop. One used Fiat chassis, the other Magirus truck chassis, both featuring crude, welded armor, protecting the engine and crew compartment. Captured incomplete by German forces in June 1942 and pressed into service during the Kozara offensive after completing front wheel armor. Partisan tank, unique armored vehicle built in late 1941 to attack the fortified village of Sararbi, constructed on truck chassis with thick wooden beams covered by metal plating. Ironically, Sararb was abandoned by Italians before the tank could be used in combat, and it was later abandoned during a 1942 offensive. Now preserved at Croatian History Museum. Partisan armor of German origin. Jagdpanzer 38T Hetzer, German tank destroyer used in limited numbers on Yugoslav front by war's end, with captured examples serving in new Yugoslav People's Army after 1945. Low-profile casemate with 75mm gun proved effective in mountainous Yugoslav terrain. Several were captured during the retreat of German forces from the Balkans. SD-KFZ 250 PAK-38, German half-track mounting 50mm anti-tank gun. Captured examples were used by partisans for mobile anti-tank defense. The open-topped design left crews exposed, but provided excellent firepower against Italian and Croatian armor. SD-KFZ 251. Zwilling, rare German half-track mounting twin 120mm mortars. Very limited numbers captured by partisans, providing mobile indirect fire support. The twin launcher system delivered devastating salvos, but required frequent repositioning to avoid counter-battery fire. Partisan armor of Italian origin. Carro Armato L640, Italian light tank with 20mm gun captured in significant numbers after September 1943. Some operated by former Italian crews who joined partisan forces. Though lightly armed, they provided valuable mobile firepower for partisan operations against German supply lines. Semovente L40 Day4732, Italian self-propelled gun on L640 chassis, mounting 47mm gun. Captured examples gave partisans effective anti-tank capability against German armor. Low silhouette made it ideal for ambush tactics in Yugoslav mountains and forests. Autoblinda AB-41. After Italian capitulation in September 1943, partisans captured numerous AB-41 armored cars, which were especially valued as partisans previously lacked armored vehicles. Slovenian partisans alone captured over 90 armored vehicles, including at least 15 AB-41s, featured 20mm cannon and good speed, serving until early 1950s. Partisan armor of Soviet origin, T-3476. Initially used by Germans in limited numbers, these captured Soviet tanks saw more extensive action during liberation of Belgrade. Partisans operated a few T-34s, captured from Germans or directly supplied by Soviets. Though fewer in number than the T-3485, they provided valuable combat experience for Yugoslav tankers. T-3485. Best tank in partisan use during World War II, with 2nd Tank Brigade equipped with 65 T-3485s and 3 BA-64 armored cars, formed in March 1945. Yugoslav crews trained in Soviet Union before deployment. The 2nd Tank Brigade saw action against German and Croatian forces in Western Yugoslavia until war's end. Partisan armor of Western origin. Light tank, M3A1 Stuart. The British supplied 56 M3A1 light tanks to form the 1st Tank Brigade on July 16, 1944, along with 2 M3A1 scout cars. While the Partisans appreciated the mobility and reliability of the Stuarts, they were disappointed with the 37mm gun, which was inadequate for anti-tank combat in 1944-45. The 1st Tank Brigade saw extensive action until May 1945. M3A3 with PK-40. At least one Stuart modified in early 1945 with captured German 75mm PK-40 anti-tank gun, operated by 1st Tank Brigade. While the design was crude, it remained in use until war's end due to lack of better options. Successfully destroyed a German-operated T-3476 during fighting near Ilirska Bistrica in April 1945. M3A3 with Flak-Vierling 38. Partisan conversion mounting German quad 20mm anti-aircraft guns on Stuart chassis. Created at Šibenik Naval Workshops after the city's liberation in November 1944. Provided mobile air defense for tank columns and proved effective against German Stukas. 105mm howitzer motor carriage M7. American self-propelled artillery supplied through British channels. Limited numbers served with partisan forces, providing mobile fire support during 1944-45 offensives. The 105mm howitzer could demolish German fortifications that Stuart guns couldn't touch. 75mm howitzer motor carriage, M8. Light self-propelled howitzer on M5, Stuart chassis, supplied to partisans. Though the 75mm howitzer wasn't ideal for direct fire, it provided valuable indirect fire support. Partisan crews typically repainted the original US White Star with red paint. Somua S-35 with Ordnance QF 6-pounder. Captured French medium tank re-gunned with British 6-pounder 57mm anti-tank gun. This rare conversion combined French mobility with effective British firepower. Very limited numbers were created as field expedients when original 47mm guns were unavailable. Fake vehicles. M3 with SIG-33. Supposed mounting of heavy German 150mm infantry gun on Stuart chassis. Mechanically absurd. The Stuart's light chassis couldn't support the massive SIG-33's weight and recoil. This is pure fiction, likely originating from speculative what-if artwork, mixing German and American equipment. M3 with mortar. Alleged project mounting 81 to 120mm mortar on Stuart chassis in high open fighting compartment. No historical documentation exists for this variant. While partisans did modify Stuarts, this specific mortar configuration is fabrication, confused with genuine German or Soviet mortar carriers. T-34B, supposed Yugoslav modification of T-3485 with redesigned turret, improved vision, and revised ventilation. This designation appears in no wartime documents and is likely confusion with post-war Yugoslav. T-34 modernizations conducted in the 1950s to 60s. The B suffix is fictitious. 85mm ZIS, 53 on Stu-G3. An alleged project involving the installation of a Soviet 85mm ZS-53 gun on a captured Cu-G3 chassis with a Maybach engine replacement. No such vehicle was ever built during World War II. The concept is purely post-war speculation about what the partisans might have been able to create. SO-75M3A3. This name is completely fake. The real vehicle was just an M3A3 with a PK-40 slapped onto it. The SO prefix and mod suffix were invented much later. The Partisans never used such designations. Their vehicles were improvised field conversions, not part of any organized classification system. So 1-2-2 on Sherman. This so-called design imagines a Soviet 1-2-2 millimeter howitzer mounted on a Sherman chassis, a dramatic mashup that never actually existed. It's one of those post-war fantasy creations where enthusiasts tried to picture what the Partisans might have built if Shermans had been available to them. In reality, it's just an intriguing what-if vehicle, blending Soviet firepower with an American hull. Mark 476 millimeters. This imaginary project envisions a 76 millimeter gun mounted on a captured Panzer IV chassis. It's a what-if concept. The Partisans did capture Panzer IVs, but they used them mostly as they were, without major conversions. The quirky Mark IV name, mixing German and British-style designations, makes it clear this was never a real vehicle, just a creative post-war idea. Stug 3 and 75mm Pak 40. This imagined project pictures a captured Stug 3 mounting a 75mm Pak 40 in an open fighting compartment. The Partisans did capture Stug 3s, but in reality, they used them with their standard guns. Converting them like this would have required workshops and materials they simply didn't have. 105mm M2 on Hellcat, a concept depicting a 105mm M2 howitzer mounted on an M18 Hellcat chassis, set in an open-topped fighting compartment. Such a vehicle would combine a light, fast platform with a powerful artillery piece. However, this remains purely a post-war fantasy. Yugoslav Partisans never received M18 Hellcats during World War II and had no means to build such a conversion. T-34 Mod 155mm M1 howitzer, supposed heavy assault gun mounting American 155mm howitzer on T-34 chassis. Partisans lacked both the howitzers and industrial capacity for such conversions during the war. This concept artwork likely originates from model kit manufacturers. Hotchkiss H, 75mm, alleged mounting of German 75mm light infantry gun on French Hotchkiss chassis. No evidence exists for this conversion. The LIG-18 was portable infantry weapon. Mounting on obsolete French tank made no tactical sense. So, 155 in M4, a fictional heavy self-propelled gun mounting a 155mm weapon on an M4 Sherman chassis, visually reminiscent of American M12 M40 designs. The concept imagines a powerful long-range artillery platform, but such a vehicle could not exist during World War II. Yugoslav Partisans did not receive Shermans until after the war. Post-war vehicles. Vozilo A, post-war Yugoslav modernization of T-3485 with redesigned welded turret, sloped hull modifications, improved ventilation, enlarged rear bustle, and locally produced diesel engine. Featured 85mm ZS 53 gun with muzzle brake. This is a genuine 1950s project, but often wrongly attributed to World War II period. Galeb, Seagull, post-war medium tank project developed from Vozilo A concept, intended to mount 100mm gun in new turret. This 1950s design is completely separate from World War II partisan operations, but frequently confused with wartime projects. Galeb represents Yugoslavia's first indigenous tank design attempt. SO-76 M18, improvised Yugoslav hybrid combining a Soviet T-55 chassis with an American M18 Hellcat turret. Captured in limited numbers and used primarily for training and technical evaluation rather than frontline combat, reflecting the mixed Eastern-Western equipment heritage of the region.